So, okay, as you remember, we had a problem, some small problem, that when we were removing blocks, especially if there was two blocks down, we didn't have the render face. For that to happen, we need to do some slight changes. For that to fix, actually, we need to do some slight changes. So let's get right onto it. And first of all, the biggest change we're going to do is on our block. When we're checking for neighbor stack, we're not really going to be doing the stack anymore. We're just simply going to be checking on all 5 directions. Okay, you can also check for the 6th direction, which is down, but since this is going for an RTS, then we can just leave it like this. Okay, so we're checking on the 5 directions, and basically we just check the get block, and if it's not null and it's solid, then you don't need a face on that edge. Okay, but for this to work now, we also need to go onto our wall generation, and we're going to do a few things differently. First of all, we're going to have a bool so that we know if it's solid or not, which means if the height is we're going to populate the entire chunk of our grid with a block that is going to hold data. Okay, so even if y is higher than the height, we're not going to skip this part, we're going to continue. But if it's lower, then we're going to set it as solid, we're going to set the ground, and basically everything stays the same except from the height. We're not going to force it to stay at 4. Let's leave it at that. And then everything else is going to go pretty much back to everything as it was. But on the final one, if it's solid, only then we're going to make it, we're going to add it into a list, which actually going to renders it. Okay, basically solid doesn't mean if it's water or not. We still count water as solid for now, so that means that it's a block that we can also render. Another thing we can do so that we don't confuse ourselves, we can say if height is lower than 4, let's switch that to water, so we have everything that is below our height, it's going to have the blue color. Minimize that. Let's compile and let's hit play. One more thing, I've added a few checks. Basically on our world, on the destroyer block, we check if block y minus 1 is greater or equals to 0, only then we destroy that block. It's just to avoid that error we get if we're trying to dig through the chunk. Okay, one place is there, and the other place is, I believe, and let's see, destroy block, height map. It's over here, add block on position. If y is greater or equal than 0, only then try and add it onto our grid. For this to be entirely correct, we should also add the next part, which is y is lower or equals the maximum y. Okay, that will be the correct way, so close that, let's compile and let's hit play. I've added a red background onto our camera just so that we can spot when a face doesn't render. That's why it looks like this. So if we start now digging down, you will see that there is no red positions anywhere, so we can basically dig through the entire thing until we reach the bottom, as you can see. I think that's probably the bottom. Yeah, that's the bottom. And if we take a peek from below, we'll see that everything is rendered as it should be. Okay, so we have our faces. We do have, we kind of missed now the the water level, but I believe I want to try and tackle that a little bit differently, because water can have its own properties and it can be done, yeah, a little bit differently. For example, we can have floods and all those things when you dig through, when we dig through the floor. Okay, so let's leave this for now, because the next part is going to basically tackle the water. But even with just this, if you were creating something different, or if you don't want to create water, you can move on to doing the unit management and all of those things. Okay, so let's finish with this part. As always, you know what to do: like, subscribe, and if you like to see more videos like this, then consider supporting me on Patreon so we can keep making all of these nice things. I'll see you on the next one.